Am I live? Okay, it says I'm live. It just came up abruptly. I'm here. So, technology. Kind of out of it, though. Feeling a little bit blah. Blah. You ever feel blah? I do. Anyways, here I am, the Guru Mama, coming to you with a 411 of the shenanigans. And if you haven't gotten my Substack or gone to read my Substack, I did my Crone Wisdom Thursday. So, if you are interested in that, we're going to discuss a little bit of it today, along with the astrology today, and talk about how different alignments, as above, so below. That's why I keep telling understanding understanding how the cosmic planets are playing um in this in our world gives you sort of an understanding. Craziness is happening in and around the world as per usual. I don't know if you saw the landslide in Switzerland. Horrific. Like ice and everything, like the whole side of the mountain came down, took out a whole city, a whole little village, I should say. And they got the people out, but they weren't able to get any of their stuff out. They just got everybody evacuated. Northern Manitoba, I think 17,000 people being evacuated. I didn't even, okay, this sounds horrible. I didn't know there was that many people in Manitoba. But anyways, 17,000 people in Northern Manitoba being evacuated. And so there, so that's happening, which is horrific because of the forest fires. Hail, hail, hail coming down in Texas. Woo! Well, everything's bigger and larger in Texas, and there was huge hailstones. This is showing you like the cosmic craziness coming in, right? Or, showing you how cosmically crazy is it being controlled. Interesting little conspiracy there, just going down the rabbit hole. So there's so much happening politically. They had question period, or not question, the parliament was open. They were discussing batting. I find it very annoying when I watch it because I want them just to fucking do something. I feel all they do is just like blah 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 blah, and they don't do fuck all. That's what it feels like to me. But anyways, that's just my opinion. And I guess Carney left because he couldn't handle it any longer. So he didn't even know how to address. He didn't even know how. He started talking, and people said, "You got to say, Mr. Speaker. You got to say, you got to address the speaker. You don't address the person. You address the speaker." And it goes through. So, anyways, thought that was kind of hilarious. What else? Just finding out more exposure of the world coming out where Biden really wasn't in charge. More information coming out about that, and the exposure of everything with that. They're going after Trump as per usual. Just a lot going on out there, a lot going on, a lot of things happening, and it's just getting really crazy. Today's the really where Mars is just really going to go through with that Kazini. And this is a pierce of light of clarity within the storm of duality. This Mercury is reborn in the heart of the sun. So communications, decisions, realizations. We're feeling that kind of build up over the last couple of days, and it's bam, here it is. But there's a trick, and you got to remember that Mercury is a trickster, right? You must speak with grace, not ego. Don't go into the ego. Don't go into being angry about things. Gemini's gift is quick thoughts, but also invites us to pause with discernment. So there's going to be a lot of noise out there, as per usual. Noise coming at you, and loudness coming at you. But you really have to have discernment. That is the word, discernment, and allowing for the divine grace to guide you. We are entering really into the depths of this heart chakra and what that heart chakra is, right? So even with Mars in Leo, and it's doing a quintile over to the sun and Mercury's union, this is a day of creative courage. That's what it wants to bring. Leo wants to bring you that courage. The sword of action is sharp, but only if wielded with joy and integrity. Are you acting with fear or inspiration? So with all of this, you're going to find people that are just want to wield that sword and they really want to, yeah. And others that will say, you know what, let's just put that aside and let's just discuss. Let's figure this out. Let's have a conversation. And that could be very difficult for a lot of people to have just a discussion without getting crazy and into their ego and into their head. Now, Venus at 22 degrees of Aries is charging towards Chiron in Aries. And this is, exacting over the weekend. And this is a wound healing moments around relationships, worthiness, and money. But it's not about the other person. Don't make your shit about other people, right? It's about how you love yourself when things aren't perfect. Many times, this is what we do. We want to project it out. It's like, oh, it's because of this and this and this and this is why I'm having whatever is going on in my life. But that's not necessary. It's a reflection. It's a reflection. You got to own 100% of your shit. And a lot of people don't want to own their shit. I don't want to own my shit sometimes, right? But this is owning it. And this is getting you to own it and come into it with love. Moon is not making any aspects right now, which is like almost like a void of course for the most of the day. And then later on the day, it squares over to Venus. It is a gentle reminder. Even nurturing hearts can heal the tense when desires aren't met. Lean into self-love rituals, lean into nourish, lean into the soothing, allow for this energy to come through you, with you, and in you. This is huge learning moments right now about bringing in the self-love, bringing in the courage, bringing in the discernment. This is a time of us walking forward in this. This is a time of us really taking that stand. Whew. But the moon is also passing near Aldebaran, and that's the royal star, a spiritual protection and moral courage. And if you listen between the words, the truth sings, right? The moment, it's like Dr. Wayne Dyer does his prayer, and he takes the first line of the Our Father, and the first part is like, Our Father. Now go back in between the hour and the Father. Breathe. And it's that moment in between those words, you're breathing. And he goes, Father who, our Father who, go between. So Father and who, go back in between the Father and the who. And take a moment. That is that moment between moments. That is, so whatever's going on, whatever you are saying, come back and go back in between those moments. It's the gap. It's what Deepak Chopra talks about, is the gap, right? You come into the gap. That's where the information is. That's where the energy is. And when we can come into that gap, when we can come into that moment, right? That's where the truth sings. And we also have that Jupiter at 27 degrees, right? And it's doing a biquintile to Pluto. And this is a quiet powerhouse. This isn't brutal force. This is alchemy. The storylines are blooming, and they're coming out, and they're unfolding through the whispers and not commands. This is where you're allowed to be surprised by your own growth, right? And look at that and allow yourself to enter into it. We don't have to figure it all out, but you do have to believe that clarity will arrive when you act from trust. A lot of these craziness and disasters that are happening, whether created by man or by nature, this is where there's an understanding that this is still all divine will. And it's in allowing for you to step into that, even amongst the disasters, even amongst the craziness or whatever is going on in your life. It's a powerful changes often come through small kind acts. And today, the smallest truth can become the biggest shift. And I feel the biggest shift is really coming in and allowing ourselves to come into it. It's like the magician in the tarot. The magician comes in, and your words and intentions and sharp reality today. The other thing about the magician, he is ruled by Mercury, right? There's a trickster element to the magician. So you have to come in with discernment as well, right? Just because it looks like, oh, is that reality? Right? Is that reality? And it's like, oh no, right? Saturn coming into Aries, and Neptune in Aries is disruptive. It's bringing in disruption. It's bringing down sides of mountains. It's shaking our core. It's getting us to awaken in ways that we never thought we could awaken, in many ways that we never thought we could move forward into it. And as I said, we have a huge generation. Like the gap of the pyramid is reversed, meaning that we have a huge generations that are old, are going through midlife crisis, are going through huge transformations, never, that we never did have before with so many, right? So with so many people going through these changes, this is where you have to start looking at, well, what's going on? What's happening in my life? Um, there are different transits to look at in your chart, and there could be a Uranus opposition, right? So looking at where you are. So if you're 38 to 42, a Uranus opposition, um, a square, a Saturn square at 36, a Pluto square at 40, a Chiron activation at 40. So there's a lot happening, especially within this generation, within this aging population that is going on, that is getting us to awaken, to break free, to grow up with the soul, to face the dark and rise. But it's amazing, I find, that even with all of this happening, how many still want to hide with their head in the sand. They're afraid. There's a fear of growing up. There's a fear of igniting. I sort of told the story in Substack about when I was becoming 40, and I had four little ones. Um Dawn would have been becoming 10. Eddie would have been 9 or 8, depending, and Olivia would have been 5. So Owen would have been like 3 or 4 at that time. And I was asking for a change in my life. I went out to the moon and I asked for a change. I knew there was things happening and stirring, but still didn't really put it up to menopause or perimenopause. We didn't even talk about perimenopause. When I was going through perimenopause, I've never heard more about perimenopause than now, right? And that's because there's so many women stepping into it. But it was a time where I was going through huge transformation, another one in my life, and moving away from a place where I really loved working, and not working there anymore. Living in a house that I thought we could buy. That was the first time we actually thought we could buy a home, and it fell through, and I was so upset. Um, and ending up living in this other place, which it just so happened, um, was a blessing in some other ways, and opening up a store. And opening up that store was opening up my soul, opening up a place of something that I didn't know knew was there, but really, really stepping into it, really stepping into that witchy part, really stepping into rituals, really calling down the moon and doing a lot of of I'm going to say rituals, and listening to that call of the wild. And but still, through that, because I know at that age it's hard, because it's like almost like you're still trying to hold on to a reality that is no longer there, or something that's no longer there. And through that, it was a time where my mother passed away. Was a time where there was movement, and we ended up the craziness of owning the store and losing the store and then losing everything. I mean, everything. I mean, we lost everything. We got our bank accounts lost, money taken out of our bank accounts because of a partner, right? And the trust I laid in that. And that was that part of the world that I was still trying to hang on to because of some thought or some notion, belief system that was there, right? And it being smashed to pieces. And then us moving basically like the Beverly Hillbillies to Calgary, leaving everything, everything. It was a good thing, it was a bad thing. It just had so many different implications. I mean, a lot of positive came out of it, but a lot of dread came out of it as well. And then going through the craziness of living here in Calgary and the ups and downs and financial woes. And I don't think we ever recovered from that. And that's 20 plus years ago of that in the mundane sense. Like in the muggle world, we did not come back out of that as much as we tried. I think it ended up getting us into a crazier void than what we believed, but yet it brought us to a place of spirituality. It brought us to a place of knowingness, of understanding, of awareness that was not there before. It was a huge awakening. And I believe, and this is even as I see it, with other aspects that are going through my chart at this time, of looking at it and saying, hey, this was more this journey, this 20-year journey of awakening. And this is where sometimes you want to hang on to all of it. You want to hang on to this world that you think that you know. You want to hang on to it. Yet it gets ripped out of you. And I think that's really what's happening to a lot of people. It's getting ripped out. Like everything that you know, everything that you have, your belief systems. I mean, you thought they were ripped out before. It's getting to the root of that. And I just like the root of the root of the root. And it's like you thought it was pulling up straight, but there was like a root going this way and a root going that way. And it's pulling out. And so it's shaking things to the core. And I think that's why there's so much more talk about, women talking about their perimenopause and all of this, more so than ever before, because there is that, oh my God, there is so much more to this. That's, part of the awakening and part of that wisdom coming in. Now, the thing is that, yeah, you have that wisdom, but there's also within that wisdom, we got to understand there's been a huge breakdown of not being able to pass on a lot of the wisdom, pass on this wisdom to the next generation, either because of a split within the community, within the separations that have happened, whether the big one that has just happened 5 years ago. That was the big one. That, I mean, it happened a long time before that. I'd say it started more before that. I think it's coming into the 60s and the 70s was really bringing in that division and separation more so than ever before, and pushing things away, or pushing that knowledge away from many people, for many generations. And now it's like this revitalization of like, okay, but it's like, no, I don't need it. I got, I have my screen here. I can just, right? I can't go and talk to the wise woman. I can't go and have a conversation. Young girls going through raising their children by themselves. We saw that. We're seeing it. Separation of family. Taking the man out of the picture. I can do it all on my own. No, you fucking can't. You could try, but there's a whole psychological issue that goes along with that. There is. Because there isn't the village, there isn't the connection. right? And the thing is that, through this, all of this comes the dogma, comes the manipulation, comes everything else that's being stowed upon our our consciousness, our world, our community, and we are trying to surge out of it. We just saw here in Canada, we just saw how they said people over 60 voting for the same thing they didn't want. It's a generation that didn't want something better for the next generation. Whoa. Whoa. What a crazy fucked up view is that? Right? Crazy. There's so much there that's coming in, and the unrest that is stewing and blowing and emerging. And I feel, going back to my little story, is that I feel like a lot that I went through has really brought me to a point where it's like, you know what? I'm excited for this. I'm excited for this, for the cracks to come open. I'm excited to see, not to see people fall, but excited to see that awakening. That's what we're going to call it, that awakening. Seeing these things awaken within people so that they can actually start saying, I got to take responsibility for my life. I got to take responsibility. When I do that, then I can help that. I can allow people to hear what needs to be said, whether that's within my family, whether that's amongst my friends, my coworkers, or beyond. That's where we're at. That's what this, the astrology, this transformation of this year, this is the biggest transformation of the year, of a year that we're going to live through. Well, yeah, we'll say it. But that's what we're doing. And it's all of this shaking up. So these explosions, this loudness has to come out. And a lot of people want to go and hide. They don't want to see it. They want to stay in their, oh, okay, let me just stay in my little blissful lane and all will be fine. I believe, that there was a purpose of all of that disruption that I had to go through to get to where I am now, because it's through those disruptions and allowing me to see a world in a new way, allowing me to understand that it's not all what you think it is and what you think you're hanging on to, right? And I just like, okay, people think, well, this is like I'm going through a horrid time. And I'm like, yeah, but that horrid time, there's so many blessings. So many blessings. Whatever it looks like, whatever it is, we don't know. We don't know right away. But there is a guidance that's saying we have to go through all of this. Right? And we're going through it. We're going through it big time. And there will be some big explosions, both physically, mentally, psychologically. But it's going through those mental breakdowns. It's going through all of that is going to bring us to an awareness that we haven't been there before, and an opening that you haven't seen before. So we're stepping into it. Big time, baby. Big time. So the Magician card is there. So what you want to create, what is it that you want to make out of this world? What is that? What does that look like? It's clarity through the cracks. Speak your truth, act from joy, and let the subtle shifts carry forward. That's what's going on. It's bringing us through to that. And with that, we have, amzonite. It speaks truth. And I still get lemon balm. I love lemon balm. It calms the nerves, along with mother root. That's another one that calms the nerves and soothes the heart. Bringing those in, your words and intention shape your reality today. Watch how you're thinking. Watch what you are saying, right? Because that Gemini energy sometimes will snap out and say things that you weren't intended on saying, or it'll blurt out something that you weren't intend on blurting out. So be aware of that. It can happen very easily. With this sun and with this Gazini can just, Jupiter coming into the end. We're working up to a full moon in Sag, and Jupiter's going to be in Cancer, and that's all about family. It's about connections, and it's wanting to expand those connections. And with that, with a full moon that's going to be hitting us in a little bit, in another 2 weeks, right? So we're building up to this newness, this new ways of looking at this and the world around us. And it's not like it's happening, in the next 5 years. It's happening now. It's a now thing. It's not a later on. It's not somewhere down the road. It's now. And I see a lot of wonderful little psychics out there, and they're awakening and stuff. I just feel like I don't think they get it. They're still in that, "Oh, let me look a certain way in order because I'm a psychic, I need to look a certain way, or I need to wear that. Let me wear this." They have the biggest pentagram on or whatever it is. I got to show in the biggest whatever, to show people that this is who I am, kind of thing. Yet there's something missing within the truth and the grittiness and the I'm going to say in the muck. I was going to say in the dirtiness of it, getting into the dirt and the muck of it, where they don't want to get into the dirt and the muck because it scares them. It might tarnish their little sparkles, but it's like you got to tarnish those sparkles because it ain't all sparkly out there, baby. And you got to understand that, yeah, okay, I can go through this because even though it's not sparkly out there, I have my wits, I have my discernment, and I have my wisdom, and I know that I have the faith in God. And it's like there's a passage, I think it's in John, I don't know exactly the passage, but it says, "Do not let your heart be troubled or afraid. Have faith in God and faith also in me." Have my faith in God. So do not let your heart be troubled or afraid. Don't let it be afraid. Have trust in God. Have trust in that divine wisdom. It's there for us, right? It's coming in. So whoa. I didn't even have to shuffle. This is a card that just sort of flew right out. It's the strength card. Look at that. You got to have the strength, you have the courage, you have to have that tenacity to know that this is coming through to you, that this energy is coming out. So have that beauty and know that you have that inner strength. Major Arcana, Magician card, and the strength card. Blessed be everybody. Have a blessed one. Know you have that beauty in you, and if you're in those age brackets and stuff like that I've been talking about lately, it's just like, understand you're going through a lot. There's a lot happening within you, and it is this beautiful transition that we're moving through, this beautiful dance. So have a blessed one, everybody. May the Lord and Lady watch over and bless you in all that you say and all you do. Join me for my Sacred Summer Series. June is, if you just want to do June, it's $50. If you want to do all 3 months for the summer, it's $100. And it is self-directed, beautiful books. I'm creating meditations, rituals, connections with community. So definitely, if you want to join me, please sign up today. Have a good one, everyone. My computer is going to die, so blessed be. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.